The history of post-war Soviet tank development is a large-scale drama of technological triumph sacrifice to administrative wars, regionalism, and the ambitions of chief designers. At the center of this narrative stands the figure of Alexander Morozov and his brainchild, the T-64, a tank that became both the crowning achievement and a bone of contention for the entire Soviet defense industry. It all began in the early 50s, when the Kharkov Design Bureau 60 commenced work on Object 430. Morozov, the creator of the legendary T-34 and T-54, realized that simple modernization of old designs had reached its limit. A qualitative leap was needed. The T-64, emerging in the early 60s as Object 432, was the embodiment of that leap. It incorporated concepts that would not appear in the West for another decade: composite multi-layered armor, an autoloader that eliminated the fourth crew member and radically reduced the armored volume, and the unique 5 TDF opposed piston engine. This two-stroke diesel was incredibly compact, allowing the tank to be the lowest and lightest among its competitors while maintaining the highest level of protection. However, the revolutionary nature of the T-64 also became its Achilles heel. Early units suffered from low reliability. The 5 TDF engine was extremely sensitive to overheating and air filtration quality, and the suspension, with its coaxial torsion bars, was lightened to the extreme and operated at the edge of its structural limits. Despite these issues, the country's leadership bet on the T-64 as the unified main battle tank for the entire Soviet army. It was intended that backup plants in Nizhny, Tagil, Omsk, and Leningrad would simply adopt the Kharkov blueprints. But this is where the human factor intervened. In Nizhny Tagil, at the Uralvagonzavod plant, the design bureau led by Leonid Kartsov was unwilling to become a mere subsidiary of Kharkov. The T-64 project had effectively killed their own developments, specifically Object 167, which was a deep modernization of the T-62. Citing the finicky nature of the Kharkov engine and its unsuitability for mass mobilization, Kartsov and his lobbyists began pushing for a mobilization tank. Kharkov responded constructively. To preserve unification, the Bureau developed Object 439, essentially a T-64A with a rear section adapted for the Tagil-made V46 diesel engine. Nevertheless, Tagil quietly rejected this compromise. Instead of implementing the ready-made Object 439, the Ural designers presented their own variant, Object 172M. Visually, the machine resembled a T-64, but the devil was in the details. Despite the outer similarity, Object 172M received a different hull geometry, a different turret, and an entirely incompatible suspension with massive road wheels borrowed from the aforementioned Object 167. The autoloader was also replaced with their own horizontal design with a capacity of 22 shells. A paradoxical situation emerged. Kharkov was fully occupied with the production of the complex T-64A, while Nizhny Tagil categorically refused to produce anything other than a tank of its own design. This deadlock was broken in 1973, when the leadership officially adopted both the T-64A, which had already been in series production for 4 years, and the mobilization Object 172M under the designation T-72. Simultaneously, a third branch was evolving. Since the 50s, the idea of a gas turbine engine had been explored. In Leningrad, the basis for this was once again the T-64A, a project designated Object 219. However, during testing, it was found that the T-64 suspension could not fully handle the stresses of the turbine engine. Instead of refining it, that decision was made to create a third, entirely new suspension, with the support of Defense Minister Dmitry Ustinov, This tank was adopted in 1976 as the T-80. The military remained troubled by the existence of three distinct machines. In an attempt at unification, the T-80A project was born. It combined the T-80 chassis with the sophisticated cast turret originally designed in Kharkiv for the modernized T-64B, known as Object 476. Around 10 of these units were produced in 1983. This project served as the basis for the even more advanced T-80U. However, in 1984, following a change in the Ministry of Defense, support for expensive gas turbine engines waned. Kharkiv proposed fitting the T-80U with their new, powerful 6TD diesel engine. The proposal was accepted, and as a result, while Leningrad produced the gas turbine T-80U, Kharkiv began manufacturing the diesel-powered T-80UD. By 1991, the situation had reached the point of absurdity. Leningrad was producing the T-80BV and T-80U, Kharkiv was building the T-80UD, and Nizhny Tagil was churning out the T-72B. While the T-80 variants shared some commonality, the unification between the T-80 and T-72 families was less than 50%. The Soviet Union never received its unified main battle tank. What do you think was the best Soviet tank of that era? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this technical breakdown, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more military history. Thanks for watching.